Hello folks, and welcome to Moorhaven Farm. We are getting ready to apply some of our math skills to our hammock and our camping site. And as I was working on this, I wanted to show you how number lines can be applied across all the math strands. So we're here at our campsite, which is located right beside our horses because we like to hang out with them. And so we need to keep in mind that the tent is going to go up in here, so we're trying to figure out where's the best place to hang the hammock. So we're going to start off and use our handy dandy tape measure, which is going to create an easy number line for us. So I want to measure how long the hammock is from one end to the other, and when I stretch it out, I see it's right at 13 feet long. So I know in this case, because the hammock is not elastic, the space that I'm going to hang this up needs to be no longer than 13 feet. So that's my maximum. I also know though that I want to get as close to 13 so I don't have much drag on the hammock. But so ideally, if I can find a space that's around 12 feet or so, that's going to be helpful. So what I want to do though is I want to do a bit of a comparison. I'm going to estimate first. And I'm going to look at my hammock here and I'm going to go looking at the length. I'm actually thinking in terms of geometry now, because when we understand that a line, because that's what I have right now, is a line of 13 feet, a line is a one-dimensional shape. So I actually need to think, and because we live in a three-dimensional world, I need to be able to make that application. So I'm actually thinking in terms of a rectangle right now. So when I look at this space, I'm thinking of it not just in terms of the length between the tree, but I want to think in terms of what would this hammock look like hanging between this tree. And so that's why I'm kind of thinking both, not just the length between the trees, but also in terms of the height of the tree. And that's going to give me the proper dimensions and how I'm going to set this up. So not just using number sense, I'm using geometry as well. And as you can see, off of my tape measure, I'm using fractions. I'm also using measurement, of course, because I measured the length of the hammock. So let's get started. So in this particular case, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking this tree to this tree might be getting really close. So let's actually take our tape measure here and we'll do a measurement. Oh, and I'm a little bit long. I've actually got 13 feet 6 inches, which is going to be a problem. I'm not going to be able to stretch that hammock quite that far. So that one's not going to work, but I'm going to keep that in my head because we're going to start applying patterning and data management to this soon. So my first measurement that I did was 13.6. So if I come, let's measure here, see what the width is on this one. Oh, that's beautiful, folks. That is right on 13 feet. But again, as I'm looking at this, I'm going, it's right in the middle of my campsite. So I don't know if I necessarily want to put the hammock here. So we're going to keep exploring this and see what other possibilities I might have. So let's go a little bit diagonal here. I don't really like that tree, but we'll just do a measurement to see where it looks like. That one's only 11 feet. That's going to be a lot of sag. And that's just a little poplar, which is eventually going to break down if I try to put the spike into it to hang the hammock off of. So I don't really think that's an option. I got this big pine. Let's see what I got here. and it's right at the edge of my campsite. So that one's also 11 feet, which is, that's going to still have a lot of sag. I'd really like to get more into that 12 and a half area. So again, I'm going to keep that in mind. I've got a 13 and a half, I've got a 13, I've got an 11, I've got another 11. Let's see, maybe if I come diagonally through here, if I go off of that big one there, measurement here. Oh, folks, we got that one right there is 12 and a half feet between the two. It's on the edge of my campsite as well. I'd have to clear out a little bit of these little branches here, but you know what? That one's looking like a really, really good possibility right now. And I got a really big solid one to hang off here. This one is also pretty solid looking. Decent looking pine with about a 6-inch diameter, so that one will do the trick as well. So maybe we'll do one more measurement here. See what I got? No, that one's about 11 feet again. So if I think in terms of my data management, I've got a 13 and a half, I've got a 13, I got a 12 and a half, and I had 3 11s. So if I was to think in terms of even the mode, from a data management standpoint, I've got, my mode would be obviously 11. And finally, if I wanted to think of it in terms of my pattern aspect, if you look at my corridor coming through these trees, you can actually see the trees along here are pretty much right in line. But if you look along here, I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I got a little bit of a bow that comes along here, which makes total sense. Because there's my 11, there was another 11, then I bowed out to the 13 and a half, bowed to the 13, and I'm coming back in again to that 11 at the end. And so when I look at it, even from that patterning standpoint, that makes total sense to me. And all of that is based off of number lines. So as you can see, the versatility of number lines and the cross section of our 5 math strands, they really do apply in all aspects. Thank you very much, folks. We'll start working on hanging up the hammock now.